The MI-8 helicopters in Warthunder. One of the biggest helicopters in the entire game. Just like their predecessors, they might look slow, but they're not. They might look ugly, and you may be right, however, they pack a nice punch for the BR they're sitting at. And even then, how do you play the MI-8 in Warthunder? Is it a nice helicopter to play, and most importantly, are these helicopters even worth it? Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bob Dickinson and welcome back to another Warthunder review. Today we will be reviewing the MI-8 helicopters. There are a lot of variants of the MI-8, however, as of this video's production, we only have two versions of the MI-8 in Warthunder. The Russian model, which is the MI-8 TV, and the East German export variant, which is the MI-8 TB. The most major differences are in their armaments, and the rest is pretty much the same. For now, let's get on with the armors and modules. Welcome to the Armor and Modular Protection Analysis, where we basically analyze the armors and modules inside of a vehicle. Today's helicopters is the German/Russian MI-8 helicopters. As always, the first thing that we need to take a look at is the crew. This helicopter has a pilot, a weapons system officer, and a gunner. Surprisingly, this helicopter is pretty much basic and it does not have a lot of technologies related to its weaponry. It might have some night vision and optics with decent zoom and probably the rotten Rito voice assistants, and that's it. This helicopter has 3 self-sealing fuel tanks with neutral gas pressurization system with these fuel presets. Generally, the MI-8 helicopters have decent amount of fuel and their fuel selection is fairly nice as well. And the engines don't suck up that much fuel like, a certain upgraded AH-1 Cobra. And speaking of its engines, it has 2 Klimov TV2 117A engines. These 2 engines are pretty reliable. Sure, they might take some time to reach 100% RPM as you increase the collective pitch, but they're quite decent at what they're doing. I will talk about the mobility of the helicopter a little bit later. At the end, you have the oil cooling system, transmission, traction of the control surfaces, and the prop shaft. Generally, this helicopter is fairly empty if you look at it with the X-ray. And this was quite surprising to me. I don't know, maybe we could add some type of mission in Heli PVE where, you could drop troops or cargo into the battlefield, making the gameplay a little bit more diverse. But anyways, let's get on with the armaments that it carries. Let's follow the tradition of the Soviet helicopters, with the OFAB-100, OFAB-250, FAB-250M62, the FAB-500M54, and the FAB-500M62. The difference between the M62 model bombs and the others is that they carry different explosive type, have more explosive mass, and of course are more beautiful. Please, I want to remind you that these guys with different icons are not parachute retarded bombs. Don't pick them up if you have the M62 variants. I guess this helicopter can also carry the ZB500 napalm bombs. In addition to the bombs that this helicopter carries, you can also carry the S5K rocket pods, both 16 and 32 variants. The S5Ks are quantity-reliant rockets. They have low amount of penetration and explosive mass compared to Mighty Mouse rockets. They will be only useful when you have a lot of them. We noticed this with the Chinese helicopters as well. And this is what exactly the MI-8 has. It has 3 pods of S5K, meaning that you can mount more than 190 rockets total. I think it's one of the highest amount of rockets a helicopter has carried. Unfortunately, the pilot does not have any kind of CCIP. However, you have enough rockets to figure out where to fire or to aim your rockets. Now let's get on with the ATGMs that these 2 helicopters can carry. The ATGMs are the most major difference between the MI-8 TV and MI-8 TB, with the first one being the 9 M17M Falanga missiles, 4 installed on the Soviet MI-8 TV helicopter, and the 9 M14M Malyutka, 6 installed on the East German MI-8 TB helicopter. These 2 missiles are very interesting. The Falanga is a very nice ATGM with nice explosive mass, great range, and great speed compared to the SS-11s. But here's a problem. There's only 4 of them. While the Malyutka missiles have less explosive mass, 1 kilometer less range, and much more slower. But here's the catch. You have 6 of them. Now, it depends on you which helicopter has the better loadout. Would you sacrifice 2 ATGMs for better performance, or would you sacrifice the performance over 2 extra ATGMs? Oh, it's the age-old debate of quantity versus quality. My favorite. But hey, it does not really matter which one you choose. The firing window is really high, and you have to angle your helicopter in this awkward position, which might be annoying in some situations when you fire your ATGMs. And as for the cherry on top, you also have an A-12 machine gun installed on the nose of your aircraft.
Just in case if you ran out of rockets.
This meme was made by shitty starter heli gang.
I will talk about the usage of the armaments a bit more into this video once we talk about the game modes. For now, let's talk about its mobility. When it comes to its mobility, this thing is a little bit unusual. The engine RPM is at constant 80% if you don't manage your throttle. But at the same time, this helicopter does not really stop you from moving around freely. Even at max fuel with the heaviest loadout, this thing with a little bit of throttle management will never disappoint you. If you ever got 80% of engine RPM, you could get it down pretty easily and put it in 70% collective pitch, and the engine goes back up to 100% and the helicopter still goes forward. Your maneuverability is pretty decent as well. Unlike the MI-4 and the MI-24A, which were quite slow by default, this one is quite responsive. It's not the best, but it does the job. The pitch control might be slow, but it's responsive. The yaw control is pretty decent, but this helicopter also follows the same tradition of Russian helicopters having terrible roll rates. Hell, this might even be worse than the Russian average. But yeah, in general, the mobility of this thing is, well, let's say fairly decent compared to whatever you have in the Russian heli tree. Now let's get on with the game modes. When you play this thing in ground RB, you have to be really careful with this helicopter. You still have bad maneuverability, and you don't have CCIP either, so you have to be accurate with it. Pick your targets carefully. You can either heli rush with your 192 rockets and kill a tank or two, or you could use your ATGMs to ruin someone's day. It depends on you. You can defend yourself from the aircrafts with the machine gun you got, but do not expect a lot of things from this helicopter either. As this goddamn thing is so massive, you might as well just call yourself the Pinata of ground RB. The bombs are not going to be that useful as well, as you don't get CCIP for the bombs either. However, one place that the bombs are really useful is in Heli PVE. When it comes to Heli PVE, this helicopter is indeed one of the best, and it can do a lot of things for you. First off, you have the enemy bases. The MI-8 is the perfect helicopters to destroy the bases with. Not only you can pick 4 or 6 ATGMs, but also you can pick 4 FAB-250s, 2 FAB-500s, or napalm bombs, depending on your loadout, and combining it with a nice top speed, you can arrive there in no time. Maybe you're gonna have a little bit of problem with the MI-24A or D players being a little bit faster than you, but hey, you can pick and choose your bases, so yeah, be smart about it. Destroying enemy assaults and defenses are something that you can also do really well. Not only the quantity of your bombs are great, but also you have huge amount of rockets. This allows you to destroy an entire assault or defense by yourself, giving if there are no friendlies around you. And of course, as if the quantity of your rockets were not enough, you also have 6 or 4 incredible ATGMs to destroy the SPAs with. Destroying enemy convoys is going to be a little bit tricky, as the Gepards have a 3 kilometers range of activation with laser accuracy. Like I'm telling you, laser accuracy, those guys are gonna pilot snipe you if you don't dodge, and boy oh boy, you can't really dodge a lot of things with the roll rate that this thing has. If you're in the German MI-8, you might face into some problems. You might ask some teammates to help as well. Landing and capturing the enemy helipad is a simple task the MI-8 can also do. Hell, I might even debate that it's one of the best at it. You have the mobility and maneuverability to make it work. Sure, it's not the best, but hey, it does the job. Destroying enemy attackers and bombers are something you can also do, but let's be honest, you only have a 12.7mm machine gun, and maybe some rockets to get some kills. Other than that, nobody does any of these kind of things in low BR Heli PVE matchmaking, so don't bother with it. The MI-8 was an interesting experience. I expected it to be as slow and as bad as the MI-4AV, but this thing blew me away by the mobility it has. And the armaments, oh boy. They're a totally different story. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you can join my membership. Like the video if you did. This is me, Bob Dickinson, signing out.